Okay. This is Dennis Mager, Education 639. I'm interviewing Frank Dominguez. How many years have you been a professional in the field of technology?
25.
25 years. Now, how many of those have been in school district?
7 this month.
And what did you do before that?
I used to work for local government down in Miami.
Oh, okay.
Did a lot of projects for the government, installations of new systems.
Okay. What is your specific role in Anderson District 2?
Basically, as a job description, I'm desktop support. But anything that's hardware in the district, I support, including presentation boards, projectors, sound equipment, anything that falls under that end, labs, and even some software.
Are there trends in technology that you think are going to have a large impact on technology over the next couple of years?
Sure.
What do you think some of those would be?
The introduction of tablet technology.
Okay.
Bring your own device. I think that's going to be it is already being, starting to be an impact on the way that we are changing our infrastructure to prepare for it.
Okay. Yeah, the bring your own device, that's actually what my research project is going to be on for this class. As far as the integration of the Wi-Fi, what was the goal? Is that in all the schools now that we've seen?
Wi-Fi was a project for, it started basically with the necessities of the needs of the administrators.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that drove it, and foreseeing what's coming, which is the bring your own device or tablet technology, wireless technology. Pretty much everything that's out on the market or coming out is wireless now, so we need to prepare for that.
Are there plans for the district to buy iPads or tablets in the near future?
There are no plans at the moment, but it's something that we are looking into and evaluating.
Okay. What are some of the factors that you consider when you adopt new technologies for the district? For example, Promethean over Smartboard or different programs that the schools use. Like, how do you go about deciding that?
Well, first there's testing involved and evaluation of the product. We propose to the teachers to see how they feel about these different technologies and how they feel about the particular equipment. We do our own research. And basically, one thing that we look for is something that we can support easily, that is cost effective in the long run, not just the purchase price of the item, but something that is probably the easiest or cheapest to support, and how we can incorporate it into our existing infrastructure or incorporate it into our other hardware.
Okay. How many personnel do you have in the technology department?
3.
3. As far as ethical and legal issues, what are some of the biggest concerns that you have in your job? I guess with teachers too, what are the ethical and legal issues of technology?
Biggest concern is always privacy.
Privacy, okay.
And there's really no other problem that I have ever encountered or have any concerns about is to protect my clients, if you would call them that, their privacy, their data. Making sure that they don't lose it or that I do not expose it to anyone. We shred all our drives when we're done with a machine. We recycle our hardware itself, but the drive that holds any information, that is shredded. It's never sold or passed on or anything like that.
Okay. What about problems with bandwidth in the school? Is there any future of trying to get more bandwidth into the schools, or how is that dictated? Is that a cost?
Well, that is dictated by need and, of course, finance. What we can afford and what we need. Right now, our bandwidth is above what we need.
Okay.
So we're prepared for future additions to our network. But that doesn't mean that 2 years from now, things are totally different.
Right.
It's constantly changing.
Yeah. One of the things I don't know if during the day like around 2 o'clock. Is that when there's the highest demand on computers? Because that usually seems like if computers are going to slow down, it's usually 2 o'clock. Would that be, or is that just coincidence that that's happening?
I would think it's coincidence. I think it might be a hardware issue with some of the computers. The biggest demand on bandwidth is early in the morning when everybody logs in.
Or logs in.
Lunchtime because everybody's surfing the web.
Okay.
If they have, if they don't have a class, usually or students are idle at some point in the labs to free time.
Okay.
But there's really no difference during the day for us.
As far as new integration of technology in the classroom, is there a possibility of using teachers getting laptops, or is it going to continue to be desktops?
At the moment, we don't have any plans for going to laptops. We're trying to replace our existing desktops and improving on what we have.
Okay. Do you have any advice for future professionals entering the distance education or education technology field?
Be prepared for change. If you don't like change, you're in the wrong business, because this is constantly changing and evolving.
Yeah. Okay.
You're always going to have to learn something new, and basically, adapt to what you want and what you can get.
Yeah. Back to the bring your own device. How are we as a district going to secure when kids bring their own devices in? Is there a way that we can make sure that they're secure on the network, because they possibly could access through their cell phone provider? Is there some kind of way that we can make sure the bring your own device is more secure?
One of the issues with bring your own device is we cannot control what they access through their provider.
Through the provider, right.
We have no control over that.
Okay.
That is the responsibility of the holder, the parents, what have you.
Okay.
As far as connecting to our network with it, that device will go through our security. Will go to our blocker. So any content, it will go through our content blocker, which will block anything that's inappropriate for the student's device, just as it does on our own devices.
So would that also include cell phones? Would be able, if it's like a iPhone, then do you think that would be able to get onto the network as well?
If it gets approved, yeah, the iPhone or any other smartphone will be able to go on the network. But anything, again, any hardware that connects to our network would go through our security.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have for you.
Yeah. All right.
Is there anything else that you'd let me know about the technology department, or?
Well, for us right now, I mean, our biggest concern, like everybody else, is everybody's screaming for tablets, and it's a difficult subject for most people, because I think that we need to utilize what we have better, get the most out of what we already have, rather than jump on a new bandwagon that is not necessarily something that's going to be the same in the next few years. So that's why we are looking into the newer technologies coming out in the tablet industry, to see what we want to have, what's going to be here, and what's going to be strong in 5 years from now. What is going to be the most compatible with what we have existing right now. When you buy a piece of equipment, you want to make the most out of it. So if a piece of equipment is not going to incorporate with your network or with your other systems and work together with it, then it's not the proper piece of equipment to have. That's at the point that we are right now. We're listening to what the teachers want and looking at and trying to see where we need to be. And that's a decision that will be probably made in the next, in the near future. We'll have to make that decision.
Are there any Apple computers in the district, or is everything?
No.
There's no Apple computers in the district. Okay.
We don't support any Apple hardware.
Is that going to be one of the major decisions, whether to go iPad or continue with Windows, like the Windows Surface? Is that part of the discussion?
Because first of all, any Apple product is very difficult to put on a Windows network and support it properly.
Right.
One other thing that you try to avoid is mixing technologies. You're mixing totally different operating systems, totally different types of technologies. It's very difficult to support all these different platforms that don't talk or work with each other. So you try to make it as simple as possible, simple to support and simple to educate. If you now give an Apple laptop to someone, to a teacher, for example, and say, we're going to use this now, well, that's not totally compatible with the desktop that you have, number one. Number two, they got to learn a whole new operating system and jump back and forth between two of them or three of them if you're looking at a tablet.
Right.
So you have to find that middle ground where something that's compatible with what you already have and easier to manage. And I think that the Windows-based tablets is the future for our schools.
Okay. That's all I have. I appreciate you doing that
All right.
for me. That's
Thank you
going to
very
help
much.
me a lot.
All right.
Thanks.
You're welcome.